Hi, I'm Bill Arnold. Thank you for listening to this podcast. There are many more podcasts available at myfaithradio.com. Your support makes this possible. Thank you.
Oh, don't you know it's the Bill Arnold Show? It's Bill.
And a warm welcome to the Bill Arnold Show. I hope you've had a good week. I know it's been kind of a heavy week, so I thought it'd be kind of nice to have a little bit more of a relaxing start to the show. I always think a merry heart's like good medicine, so I called my friend and colleague from the great state of Iowa and the prestigious town of West Des Moines, Patrick Albanese, to see what was going on in his neck of the woods. Patrick, welcome.
Well, thanks, Bill. Well, just so you know, we have been voted most prestigious.
Nice.
Most prestigious street. I think I'm on the most prestigious suite.
I like saying
actually,
prestigious, even though I don't think that's how you pronounce it.
I struggle with the word. I live in the town I actually live in is called Clive, and I've been here 17 years. And I asked my wife today, I said, what are we? Are we Clivians? Clavinians?
Yeah.
I've actually never have heard anybody in town say what we are. How can I introduce myself?
Yeah. Well,
we don't know.
It's interesting you come as a guest today because my word of the day in my in-mail box is flibbertigibbet.
I love flibbertigibbet. That was I'm not kidding. My grandma used to use that all the time.
Your grandma used flibbertigibbet?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, come on. I didn't know this. You see, I should have talked to you in advance.
Yeah, no, flibbertigibbet. And well, my grandma would say things and you never really questioned it. And then it would be years later, they would say, I don't even know what she meant by that.
Was it a compliment or was it something less than a compliment?
Well, I mean, because what was the other? She would say, would she call somebody a fuss budget?
Oh, yeah, I've heard fuss budget.
Yeah.
So let me go back to flibbertigibbet because I had four options. And the one is the study of insects, one is a talkative person, one is the fear of snakes, and one is a large cooking pot.
Now, my grandmother would be referring to the talkative, the chatty person.
Ding, 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 ding. And she would be right. She'd win the prize.
Yeah, that's that I think she would refer to somebody as a flibbertigibbet.
Oh, that is very, very funny to me.
Well, my aunt was a flibbertigibbet. She still is. And in fact, so of course we have cell phones now, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you remember back in the day when we were younger, like if the phone rang during dinner, you did not answer it, correct?
You'd never answer it during dinner. No. Sometimes you take it off the hook.
You would sometimes take it off the hook, wait for the to subside.
Right.
Or you would take it off the hook upstairs so you didn't have to listen to it. And my mom would always be like, it's probably just a solicitor because everybody knows we eat dinner at 6:30, which was true. I mean, she'd go out, she'd ring the dinner bell. And then everybody in the neighborhood said that dinner bell that the Albanese family has, that's a pretty good way to get all the kids to come home because we were locked out until it was dinner time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then my mom would have to add the roll call, Michael, Terry, but she could have stopped at Michael, but she would run the names, the 8 of us, and then we would, everybody knew, oh, that's the Albanese dinner bell. Don't go. But yeah, so no answering the phone during dinner. And if somebody was waiting for a phone call, of course, you didn't leave the house. You would often have to get off the phone if somebody was expecting a call. Now we're so casual about it. We look at our phones and we're going, I don't want to talk to that guy. But my mom would be, if my aunt called, she might be listening, but and she loved my aunt. She was married to her brother. But my aunt she was quite the flibbertigibbet. It could go for days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gone.
I'm just impressed.
I think it's the only lie my mother told.
I'm just impressed you know that word.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I say, my grandma said all the great stuff. She would, Still to this day, I'm trying to decipher. It don't make no never mind to me.
Right. Do you remember how? Do you
Is
remember
it
how?
quintuple negative? I don't even know.
I don't know. Do you remember how breathy and scolding you'd be with your voice if like your dad was on a long distance call? Because everyone had to be quiet because he's on a long distance call.
Yes, we're spending some money.
Yeah, and then Wyatt here.
Yeah.
There's things that Wyatt probably has no idea about. Like, do you even know what the yellow pages are?
I've heard of the yellow pages.
Yeah.
I've never looked at the yellow pages.
You don't even know what the yellow pages are.
Yeah,
right?
not to its full extent.
Do you know what a collect call is?
A collect call?
Yeah.
You make that up?
No, I didn't make that. I didn't make that up.
No, I am enjoying this conversation though.
Well, no, but you're not answering my question.
I don't know what a collect call is.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you could grab any payphone, and if you didn't have the dime to make the call, you would make a collect call, and the person would answer it. It would be an operator saying, "Collect call from Patrick. Do you accept the charges?"
Yeah, and then you'd have to pay the charges, but Patrick could get through to you and talk to you. But would you accept a collect call from? And if it's long distance, it could be $6-8.
Yeah, could really rack up quickly.
Yeah.
So one of my good friends now, and one of my closest friends for 50 years, he lived a bit of 17 miles away, which by modern day that's not very far. But back then, that was a local long distance call.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when we first became friends, we were both into magic, and we had met at some show that he was performing at, and so we would call. I'm just a kid. And I didn't realize that calling from Arlington Heights to Skokie was a local long distance call. So I ran up this unbelievable phone bill. Unbelievable phone bill. And you could hear it because, the way the bills came, and my mom just, she would file things. We did the shoebox system long before there was a Dave Ramsey. But I think there was an audible thud as her coffee cup hit the floor. Mm-hmm. And I think the bill was hundreds of dollars.
Oh, boy.
And she's, "Who's calling Skokie? Huh?" It was, "Who did it?" And she knew who was doing it. And she goes, that's local long distance, which that term doesn't exist anymore. So I would have to wait till I think it was 11 o'clock at night before I could call my friend and talk on the phone.
I've got one more question for Wyatt. Wyatt, do you know what a Rolodex is?
I know the word Rolodex.
But that's it. You've never had
it.
one and never will have one. Yeah, okay.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know what it is, so I don't know if I ever have one.
Yeah, you won't have one, trust me.
Yeah.
So I got a nice text in from someone that said that Flibberty Gibbet was used in The Sound of Music. It appears in the song Maria.
And the Sound of Music?
Yeah, it appears
there's a
in the
Maria
song
in West Side Story
Maria.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sister Berth sings a Flibberty Gibbet as one of the descriptors for Maria's whimsical and flighty personality.
Well, and so it's perfectly fitting that Grandma would say balderdash.
Yeah.
We don't say that anymore.
No.
Oh, I think it's funny too because everything, like, things had an origin. So Grandma, for instance, let's say, okay, let's see if any of these sound familiar to you. I was just thinking about these the other day. Everything had like an origin. We're going to go Dutch.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do people in Dutchland, as I'm assuming that's where it comes from, Dutchland, right?
I would think so, but what
do they
we
share?
know?
Is that just a thing that that Dutch people do? Is like, none of us pay, none of us treat. We never treat. But for some reason, the Dutch have been labeled as the people that are either extremely cheap or extremely generous. Pardon my French. I don't know why the French have been labeled with being people that apparently, with this beautiful language, half of what you're hearing is actually not fit for most people to be speaking. Yeah. So it was, pardon my French. Do you remember, any of these other ones?
In China, do you go out for Chinese food or do you just go out for food?
Right. And if you go, do you take the slow boat to China?
I don't know.
Because Grandma would talk about, it's like taking the slow boat to China. You say, I don't know. I guess it's far, and if you take the slow boat, it takes even longer. Is that what you're saying? Isn't there a better way to say that?
Yeah.
And she, of course, would say, it's all Greek to me,
Oh, yeah.
which again, you say, is that a particularly difficult language? I don't know.
Yeah.
And what do the people in Greece say when somebody says something that doesn't make sense to them? Did they just pick another language?
I don't know. You know, the other day, Wyatt told me something that his dad uses, and he was asking me, I think, to try to interpret it. Do you remember what that was?
Like a saying that he has?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
in the blue blazes?
What in the blue blazes?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that one?
I love that one. But now that you think about it, what does that mean?
Well,
What
I think I had to look it up because I didn't want to seem uninformed to my producer. But I think it has something to do with chaos and all kinds of disorder. And what in the blue blazes is going on here?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But blue, yeah, I guess it's blue fire, blue flames,
I
which
haven't
is
heard that one.
associated with very hot fire.
Okay. All right.
Okay, that's what I'm looking that up right now. That is not off the top of my head, and I'm sad to say I've not only have used the phrase, I heard it for years, and just kept walking around like I knew what it meant, and I had no clue.
Have you started using one of your dad's expressions in your regular vocabulary? And as you're saying it, you think, oh no, I'm starting to sound just like my dad.
Well, yeah, if one of my dad's sayings is, "Hey, what are you kids doing over there?" Yes, I am definitely doing
You
that.
want how much money?
Yeah, yeah. What are you gonna? What? Yeah. What do I get?
Right.
You know, it's. I mean, my dad gave us $1 for every A that we got, and so if you had 7 classes and you got 6 A's, you got the $6
Nice.
along with a warning
What's the warning?
about. Well, you got to try harder on that other class. What's
Oh,
going on there?
yeah, good
How'd you
point.
drop that ball? Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. Now he graded on a curve. My brother would get the $1 for a C.
Oh boy, that doesn't seem fair.
It didn't seem fair, but well, he would often say life isn't fair, and I'm just setting the bar where somebody can reach it. That's all I'm doing.
All right, Patrick, only because of time, I want to take a short break, and then when I come back, I want to devote ourselves to the public reading of Scripture, which it says in 1 Timothy chapter 4:13, until I come, devote yourself to the public reading of Scripture, to preaching and to teaching. So when we come back, we're going to read Psalm 23 in 2 different versions, and then we're going to chat about a couple of other amazing things. And we'll be right back with Patrick Albanese, my friend and colleague from the great state of Iowa.
Bill needs a minute. He needs a minute. Bill needs a minute. He'll be right back. Bill needs a minute. He needs a minute. Bill needs a minute. He'll be right back. You don't need to know why Bill needs a minute. None of your business. He'll be right back. You look in the studio, but Bill isn't in it. 'Cause Bill took a minute. He'll be right back.
Psst, have you heard the news? Listening just got better with the new and improved Faith Radio app. No more restrictions, no more static, no more missing your favorite shows. Now, listen when you want, where you want, and share with everyone. When you need hope, encouragement, Jesus, it's right there on your phone. Text the word app to 877-933-2484 and follow the link or search Faith Radio Network in your app store.
Bill took a minute, and now he's back.
I'm back, and I'm back with my friend Patrick Albanese. We're going to read a little scripture, and then coming up after the break, we're going to do Friday with Friends. So it's going to be a kind of a light, happy, fun hour. So, Patrick, as we read scripture today, I'm going to have you read the Psalm 23 in the New American Standard Bible, and I will read it in the ESV version. So why don't you begin?
I shall give it a whirl.
Psalm 23.
All right. A psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd. I will not be in need. He lets me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for the sake of his name. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Certainly goodness and faithfulness will follow me all the days of my life, and my dwelling will be in the house of the Lord forever.
Beautifully done. All right, here it is in ESV. The Lord is my shepherd. I will not be in need. He lets me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for the sake of his name. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Certainly goodness and faithfulness will follow me all the days of my life, and my dwelling will be in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
Nice. And I'm glad it got 2 read-throughs
I agree.
because, I believe I said you prepare a table before me in the presence of anemones,
Yeah.
and I think it should be my enemies.
Yeah. Well, I'm Patrick. I was glad that you carried some of the load today because while you were reading, I had to sneeze. But fortunately, I've got a button that I can mute my mic because it is allergy seasons, and you can't sneeze when you're sleeping. Did you know that?
Now, is that a rule?
But I
or is
wasn't
that something
sleeping when you were
physically
reading.
Can't.
No, you physically can't. But I was thinking about what else did God program into our bodies, and I thought
first I want to say that now, I think that when somebody sneezes, not only should you say "God bless you," but you should say "Thank you for listening."
Right. But when we have goosebumps, that helps us trap warmth in cold conditions. And all these little things our body automatically does to protect us, I find absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. Okay. Because you had mentioned that. So sneezing, you can't do it while you're asleep, but there's a reason why we sneeze.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have something that's an irritant in your body.
Yep. And you get that out.
And your body says, yeah, let me take care of that.
Yeah.
Let me get rid of that for you.
Yeah. And you think of the magic of blinking. I mean, how many times an hour do you blink? How many times a day do you blink? But that shields your eyes and keeps them from being dry and keeps debris out of them. I mean, it's just an amazing automatic thing God has programmed into us.
Except for the blinking I do on stage when I can't remember my lines. And
we've all done
entirely
that.
different. Yeah, that's a different kind of blinking.
Yeah.
Although it does. Yeah.
Or even tears that, wash out dust or debris and, even help to release emotional stress. I mean, that's one of those things that sometimes when you have a good cry, you do feel better.
Yeah. It's I got a piece of dust in my eye or a piece of sawdust in my, a big one. And my body was working overtime. It looked like I had been, weeping over something for a couple hours, but it took it that long, and it just kept producing until that thing flushed out.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't control it. It said, I got it. Just hang on.
Yeah.
And
and how
safety mechanism.
Yawning kind of cools down your brain when it overheats.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting that it's also at the same time that you say, I guess that means I'm tired. And your brain says, we're taking the rest of the day off, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, right. You can punch out or just go to sleep.
Yeah. So why is yawning contagious?
That's a really good question. Maybe
Unless
everyone's brain is overheating.
Yeah. You're also saying then that if you're having a heated discussion, it's a real heated discussion if the two of you are yawning.
Right. And then of course your body temperature rises when there's a fever or something that has to kill off in some kind of cellular invader in your body, and your body raises its temperature to kill it off. It's pretty cool.
Well, so I go through these things. I don't get sick too often, and if I anything, just you can half it. A 24-hour bug is 12 hours for me.
Right.
But I know the exact cycle my body, I'm sure everybody is kind of aware of it. And where whatever it is you have, you say, oh, I'm at the shivering phase. I know what comes next,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be under 12 blankets and I still will be cold and I'm shivering and I'm under all these blankets. And then you start to transition to the point where you're shedding the blankets. Pretty soon you have a sheet on you, then you take the sheet off and you have a fan on you and you say, oh, I'm healing.
Right. Yeah.
Like I see the transition to it's like, this is good. I know exactly what comes next. I'll be coughing, stuff will come out of my lungs and I'll be fine in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just, if the body's miraculous that way.
Yeah. And, if you ever scrape a knee or cut your finger, and it is kind of fun to watch it heal, to watch the skin come back and miraculously heal. Pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as long as when you're a little kid, you're picking at it, remember that?
Oh yeah. Don't pick don't pick your scab.
Don't pick your scab. You're going, but it's cool.
Yeah,
And
it's fun to pick scabs.
Don't worry, there'll be another one. It's like, yes. Yeah, that's right. Just going to keep going on forever. It's, I pulled off a skin tag once.
Oh.
And then there was another skin tag underneath it. And it was at the doctor's. The doctor actually removed it, and there was a skin tag underneath it. I go, I don't. What is that? He says, it looks like you've been marked down. So,
all right. If you've had a challenging week, I just want to encourage you to fully trust God. I mean, there are waiting periods in your life, and sometimes there's delays or trials, or you've got all these prayers that you've prayed, and they feel unanswered. And maybe God is just saying, my timing, not yours. And he's testing your patience. And sometimes we just have to surrender and say, not my will, but yours be done.
Those can be tough sometimes. I do understand why people reach out to God in really difficult times, because there are certain things that only he can do, that only he can deal with.
Yeah, right.
And it's taken me a long time in life to even understand that even though God doesn't necessarily answer your prayer in the way you would like, that it's not just that he's there, it's that, don't worry, I do have this.
Yeah. And we have a fear of the unknown. We like our more predictable outcomes based on the kind of the plans we have. But God also steps in and says, no, I'm going to refine you through maybe some suffering, maybe some adversity, but it's for your growth.
I remember a friend would ask me, because you don't like the unknown, and we were talking about the fear of the unknown, and this friend might have been you. I don't know.
Might have been.
Might have been. You tell me. If it sounds wise, it might have been you.
No.
But he said, if you knew exactly how every day of your life for the rest of your life was going to go, and it went, according to your plan, yeah, how bored would you be? He says, if you knew exactly, you wake up, you're going, I know exactly how the day is going to go. It's going to go exactly my way. There will be no surprises. There will be nothing. This is going to happen. This is going to, he says, if you knew it all, would you eventually say, I am losing my mind knowing everything?
Yeah,
life has no surprises.
Point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were designed to trust completely on God and lean everything into him. And so when we try to take control and expect our outcomes based on our plans all the time, we find out that not only are we disappointed, but we are unhappy. So we're much happier when we're trusting God for the results.
Well,
I am
plus,
anyway.
I agree. And I think there's so many times you say, well, that was a surprise how that ended up working out.
Yeah.
And you realize, okay, was God setting me up? No, he's using whatever for his glory. Obviously, you hear about, what's the saying? Satan he basically does evil for evil's sake, but God can take that evil and turn it for something good.
Right. That's from Genesis. Yeah.
Yeah. But you want, even no matter how you want things to go, sometimes when you have that disappointment or the setback or this rough period, we talk about when one door closes, another one opens, but the difficulty for most of us is, they're not simultaneous events.
Right.
There's often a long, dark hallway, and we stumble around a little bit.
Yeah.
But when that door opens, we say, "Oh, look at this!
Yeah.
Look up here!"
Yeah. We just got to remember God's character. He's loving and good and unchanging, and that's all the time we have, Patrick. Thank you so much for doing the show.
Well, thank you. I hope I wasn't too flibberty-gibbety.
You were a little flibberty-gibbet, and Wyatt's dad was listening. So Wyatt's dad, Trent, made the show today, so that was kind of fun. So all across the board, it was a good show.
What in tarnation? I'm sorry, Blue Blazes?
Blue Blazes, yeah.
Blue Blazes.
All right, have a good weekend, Patrick.
Thanks, you too.
Yep, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, it's Friday with Friends. You'll meet my friend Phil Piekes. Be right back. Welcome back to the show. My big question today is, how important is it to find a church and to find a church family and a church community? Because it is Friday with Friends. I've got Phil Piekes in here in the studio with me today, and I'm going to let him tell his amazing story of finding a church and a community and lots more. Phil, welcome.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, let me hear the story of what it was like when you moved here into the Twin Cities.
Okay. Well, I do have a story for you. It's a good one.
I know. I've heard it before.
That's right. Well, you should have it memorized by now. But anyway, so back in summer, July 1992, I was in Chicago, and there had to be a change. Not a good relationship, not a good situation there. I had to leave. I knew my daughter was starting St. Cloud State that fall, and I wanted to get out of there and move up to Minnesota. A little bit before that, I had to recommit and rededicate myself to the Lord, and I was going to Moody Church, which most people know of. And I was there for a few months, made friends with the communications director who helped me through a tough time. And I decided to move. And on July 22nd was my birthday. I moved on the 23rd. I drove up to Galena, Illinois to tell my parents what I was doing, stayed overnight, hauling a 20-foot rider truck and my car, and then the next day moved up to Minnesota. I had a college friend who was kind enough to let me stay on his couch for a while until I got settled. And all the way up, though, I knew that my goal was one thing, and the Lord knew it too. And my priority was to find a church, and I needed to find a church. And to be quite frank, coming from Moody Church, I needed a bigger, stronger, dynamic type church. So my second day there, my first Sunday, I'm going to church. And I went to a small community church in Minnetonka. And it was, I wouldn't say disappointed, but it was on a much lower scale and probably not a great fit for me. And I went home and I thought about that. But I went back at night because they had Sunday night services. So I went back at night. Really wasn't much better.
Same church?
Same church.
Okay.
And I was in the lobby afterwards, and I was talking with a few people. I probably looked a little forlorn. And an elder came up to me and introduced himself to me. And I introduced myself, told him my story quickly. I said, I really need a dynamic church here. And I told him the reasons why. And he said, have you ever heard of Wooddale Church in Eden Prairie? I said, no, I just moved here. I don't know anything. I just found you in the phone book. And so this was at 8:15 on that Sunday night, July 26th. And I got in the car, drove right up Shady Oak, parked the car at Wooddale Church. There were some cars there. I didn't know if they had a service or not, if anybody was there. I barged through the door like a obnoxious Chicago guy and introduced myself to the first guy there. I said, I'm Phil Piekes from Chicago. I'd like to talk to the pastor. Well,
Sunday night at 8:15.
That's right.
Give it a rest, Phil.
I know, and
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a big deal asking for the pastor. I was friends with pastors at other churches,
Right.
and I thought I could talk to anybody. So he said, "Yeah, I'll check see if he's here." Well, that pastor was Leith Anderson, and Leith Anderson, of course, is well known in the evangelical world.
Yes, he is.
And he was still there, and he said, "Wait a minute." So he said, he'll talk to you. So I went back there and had a great conversation with Leith for 15, 20 minutes. and told him my story. He was gracious. And at the end, he said, there's a guy here, Pastor Fred. He was in Moody Church. You may want to connect with him and just talk about that. And I said, well, I will. So 2 days later, Wednesday, I went right in to meet Fred. And to make a long story short with Fred, he became my best friend and my golf buddy until he passed away several years ago.
Yeah.
So, and in 2 weeks, I was not shy and met the entire staff. And in 3 weeks, I was already involved in sports ministry with the first guy I met walking through the door, Pastor Brian. So now I'm in sports ministry, and I'm doing ice hockey for 25 years off campus.
Yeah.
I'm doing the golf tournament for 25 years. I'm involved in men's ministry under Fred as a Bible study leader. And after Fred passed, I became appointed the coordinator of the men's ministry there and still a Bible study leader there. And I've been an usher captain for 30 years. So I got involved with right away, but and they can't get rid of me. So they might try, but I'm there for the long haul.
I've seen the petition that's circulating.
Yeah,
they are trying to get rid of you.
Yeah, that's right. When I find that, I just I try to intercept.
All right. Let me just pause here, Phil, because you drive up from Chicago with all your stuff. You find a church in the phone book, which you attend, and it's not a great experience, but you're still thinking, I'll go back in the evening and give it a second shot. And that still isn't going great. And yet you have a conversation which leads you to go explore another church, which you do that night.
Yeah.
And you ask to meet the pastor, and you all of a sudden, in the course of one day, have gone from attending one church for 2 services and then finding another church that you're going to start to attend, which you've now been at for 30-some years.
33 years, yeah.
33 years. And you're not only a leader of the men's ministry, but the leader of the usher ministry. And it's one of those stories where I hear some people, when they're trying to find a new church and they feel like no one's reaching out to meet them. And Phil, you're the opposite. You walk in and introduce yourself, which I think there's a lot to gain, a lot to learn from that.
Yeah. Well, I've never been shy, and I was on a mission, and the Lord knew my mission. And if there was ever one prayer, I told you this before, if there was ever one prayer that the Lord answered directly, quickly, was this one. And my priority was to find a church first. And not only did I find a church, I found it on the first Sunday. I came up here with no job, no money, no nothing, didn't know anybody.
No friends?
No friends.
Yeah.
Okay. Except this one guy who let me stay on his couch.
Why is it always a couch? Doesn't he have a spare bedroom?
Well, I guess he didn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's always a couch.
That's right. And I said, can I stay here? I'll cook. He said, okay, because I'm a good cook. So
and
he said,
Italian.
you could cook.
Yeah.
And so I did that. But the focus and the goal and the mission was clearly met. The Lord knew it, and He blessed me. And, I couldn't be more grateful because I was called to serve there, and the Lord knew it. That was His plan. Mm-hmm. And it's been an honor and privilege to be involved in those ministries all these years.
Yeah. But you come into this town, like you said, no job, no money, no place to stay, and you're prioritizing above everything else finding a church.
Yes.
Sometimes that ends up being something that people eventually go do.
Yep.
They want to get settled in their apartment or buy a house or do whatever, find the job, and then they find a church community. And you just did it completely the other way.
Yeah. And to find the perfect church, the perfect fit for me is only God directed.
Yeah.
Because as you know, people go on a church search and they'll look for a long time until they find the fit.
They'll church shop, won't they?
They'll church shop.
Yeah.
For good and bad reasons.
Right.
And
you show up with your sleeves rolled up, ready to serve.
Yeah, that's right. So I was off and running, and I'm still there, and I'll continue to work in these capacities for as long as they'll let me, and I have the energy for it. But it's just been a complete blessing.
Mm-hmm. Your story is inspirational because one of the things I often hear with people is they had the hardest time finding a church community, and it was one of your deepest prayers that the Lord would lead you to a place where not only could you flourish, but you would find a home, a community, and a place to serve.
Yeah. and the people were great. I made many friends very quickly, not just with the staff, but throughout the church. And what was coming from the pulpit had to be the most important part.
I agree.
And, of course, Leith was right on. I loved his preaching and did until he left.
Yeah, he was. He's an amazing teacher. And Leith, if you're listening, I'd love for you to come on the show. But anyway, Phil, talk a little bit about your willingness to reach out and shake hands with just about anybody. Because again, I do think that people attend church and they'll leave saying nobody tried to talk to me.
Right.
And I understand that's hurtful.
Yeah.
But you, on the other hand, will walk into a church and put your hand out and say, "Hi, I'm Phil."
Well, it's kind of a natural instinct, and also being in hospitality at church now, I notice people like that.
Mm-hmm.
And as an usher, I talk to people every Sunday, everywhere, and I'm well connected there, so I know a lot of people, but I know a lot of their friends, and I know a lot of the people that they bring now in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you really can't be shy. I know it's against some people's nature to be aggressive like this, and I understand that. Many people are more introverted, but at some point, you gotta open up and let somebody open that door for you.
I don't see it as aggressive. I see it as welcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wyatt, what do you see it as?
I think it's both. It depends on how you do it. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
That's very critical.
Yeah.
I agree. But if
Yeah.
there's a smile on your face and you know, which there always is with you.
Well, I do everything with humor based, and people at Wooddale will tell you they know my dad jokes and puns.
Yeah.
They're probably sick of them.
And they're all
but,
bad.
They're all bad, but
Yeah.
they're all really good. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and they all have to listen to them, whether they like it or not, and they're very, they go with me.
Yeah. Now there's so much more to this story, and I think I'm going to take a short break and come back. And I'm curious, Phil, to hear part B of the story and how God met you once again and did something pretty spectacular.
Yep.
All right. You're listening to Friday with Friends. I'm in studio here with my friend Phil Piekes. We'll be right back. It is my deepest desire that you take the very first step of faith by placing your faith and trust in Jesus Christ. If you've got questions about what it means to begin a relationship with Jesus, text the word faith to 41224. Welcome back to Friday with Friends. I haven't done this in a while, but it is awfully nice to have a friend in studio and to hear a story. If you have ever wondered about finding a church, making it a priority, and then as a result of finding this church God has led you to, develop a church family and a church community and people that you can depend on and they can depend on you. You can pray with them and do life together with them. Oh, is that important? And Phil's telling a great story. All right, Phil, I know there's part 2 to this story.
Well, there is part 2, and after being blessed finding Wooddale Church, 3 weeks later, after I arrived, I was bike riding with my buddy down at the City Lakes, and we were riding on Lake Calhoun at that time on the east side, and we're riding along at a pretty good clip, and ahead of me, I noticed a person, a female gal, and I'm getting closer and closer and closer. And I do have to admit, as a man, I noticed her, and I went by her very quickly and said hello. And she said hi really quickly, like within 2 seconds. She looked good from the side, too. And I just kept going. 15 minutes later, my buddy and I are at Lake Harriet, and a concession stand.
Which
and
is
there's a
another
band shell
lake
there.
very close by to Lake Calhoun.
Oh, that's right.
Yep, it's a bunch of city lakes all
That's right,
connected.
City Lakes. Yep. Okay. And standing there drinking lemonade with my buddy, and I just look over my shoulder about 20 feet to my right there, and there's this gal on rollerblades fumbling around with her popcorn and pop.
Same one.
Same one that I passed up on the path.
Yeah.
And I said, hello. And she said, hello. He said, are they playing music today? And I said, well, I don't know. I just moved here. I don't know what's going on in this town. Let's go over by the band shell. They have a schedule over there. So we go over there and we look at the schedule, and I'm talking a mile a minute. very quickly. Chicago this, Chicago that, Chicago this, blah, blah, blah. And this
You don't
and
want
that.
the conversation to die down, do you?
No, I didn't want
You got to keep it going.
I wanted to keep it going. And I think she was interested. And so I look over at my buddy. He's getting antsy because I'm talking 15, 20 minutes already. And I said, well, I really got to go. And she said, oh, okay, well, nice meeting you. I said, but can I call you? And, we just met. I said, well, I convinced her to get her number, and she gave it to me, which she never does, and she did. So 2 hours later, I get home. I'm on the phone. Okay, I'm on the phone.
You're applying the same principle, aren't you?
Yes.
Find a church.
I am on the phone, and hi. And she said, hi. I said, well, can I come over? Can we talk? Well, okay. So we went over to a local lake here and walked around the lake for 4 hours.
Wow.
She immediately found out that I was a rededicated believer, found a wonderful church home, and I found out that she was a new believer looking for a church home. And I said, well, have I got a deal for you?
I like how this is developing, Phil.
Yes. And she said, well, that's great. And I said, I'd love for you to come with me. Come with me. And she said, okay. Well, she did. We went to Sunday school together, actually the only unmarried couple in that group. But they welcomed her, and we got married in that church. Well, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yes, you are.
Because we saw each other every day after that. And on April 17th, we were married the next year. So met her August 16th, married April 17th, and off we go. And the great part about this is not only meeting her, but also helping her find a church home, and which was very important to her. I think she was 29, I was 37, and she wanted to find a church home. Well, she got a guy and a church all at once, probably surprising to her as it was to me. Mm-hmm. And the backstory to this is that a year after that, we went down to Chicago. I wanted to meet this communications director of mine at Moody Church. He was still there.
At your former church.
Former church.
Mm-hmm.
And we told him the whole story. And I also told him the part where the last thing you told me in the Ryder truck after you said goodbye was you looked at me in a confident, assuring voice like you knew what was going to happen. And you said to me, the next Christian woman you meet, you will marry. Well, that happened. And when I told him that,
yeah,
he didn't remember saying it.
Oh, funny.
Well, the reason why I didn't remember saying it, I truly believe, is the Lord was speaking through him there. And the Lord was speaking to me, and the Lord was speaking to that elder at that small community church that led me to Wooddale. Yeah. And I believe he was speaking through him, saying, Phil, the next Christian woman you're going to meet, which was, by the way, the first one, I think, I ended up marrying.
Wow.
And we've been married 32 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, you don't have any contacts in Minneapolis except your friend.
Yeah, and her now.
Well, but I'm saying you don't know any Christian people.
No, not until I started to go to Wooddale.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
That's right.
So, yeah. So then from when did you meet, and then how long was it? About 8 months?
Well, we met August 16th, married April 17th.
Okay. Yeah. I can't do the math.
Yeah. Well, anyway, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And
several months.
So there was no delay in any matter here. So
yeah. Oh, Phil, it's a great story. And again, I think of how God brought you two together. God brought you to Minneapolis and then also led you to a church. But I also have to say, God did amazing work, but you took some initiative. So I got to say, God equipped you with your personality and your willingness to introduce yourself to people, and I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah. Well, he did, and he blessed me.
Yeah.
In every way possible.
Yeah. That part of the story, I think I like focusing on a little bit, because I think we're getting more and more isolated and more lonely in our world, and we're finding it harder and harder to make human connection. And
yes.
I think some of it is, it's not, for you, it's not getting out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is talking to people.
Yeah. Well, the other thing led me to this point while you were talking about how important a church is, and how important church community is, how important all the Sunday schools are, how important it is for all ages there from age 2 to 92. And particularly in men's ministry, since I've been involved in that closely in 25 years, that's a perfect example where guys need church, guys need men, and guys need those avenues to connect and communicate with guys. Guys need guys. Guys need to love guys.
Yeah. Men make other men better.
Yes, they do.
And, the whole iron sharpens iron, so one man another. That couldn't be any more true.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the church gives an opportunity for that.
Yeah. So 33 years at the same church, serving joyfully, making lifelong friends. What else has been a highlight of your service ministry over 33 years?
Besides them putting up with my jokes, I think it's just the honor and privilege to serve the Lord there in all these capacities. I'm built for hospitality, and He has allowed me to show that.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I'm blessed by doing that. So really, it's basically every time I walk in the church, it's a blessing, and almost every day is a highlight.
Yeah,
because of it.
So talk about the gift of hospitality, because that is a gift. And clearly you understand that to be something God has given you. And for people that don't have that, they might feel a little bit at a disadvantage.
I can see that happening. And again, we all have different personalities and strengths in our, not just our character, but just the way we carry ourselves and deliver. My thought is just be comfortable. You have confidence in the Lord. When you have confidence in the Lord, you can say and do just about anything in a way that would be fitting. Mm-hmm. So even those people who might be a little bit shy, just try to open up a little bit. From my standpoint, I use humor, and humor always relaxes the situations right up front.
Makes me tense when you do your humor.
Yeah, okay.
But that's different.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah,
I forgive you.
Yeah, but Phil, when we consider that there are some people that just clam up a little bit and they have a harder time meeting people, I think it's important to equip our church family to, like you say, you've been ushering long enough to see someone that you go, I think this person's here possibly by themselves, and let me introduce and get them connected. I mean, That's kind of what you do. You're a connector.
Yeah. And of course, we try to develop all of the usher team there, for example, or hospitality team, and equip them to do so. And they're pretty good at that. So, for the most part, we don't let too many people slip through.
Yeah, I love that. And sometimes when people go to church and they sometimes think, well, I don't know if I want to go back because I'm not getting enough out of it. And I think never forget what you might do by your presence to bless and help others.
Yes. Yeah. And first impressions, as you know, sometimes can make a big difference.
Say more about that.
Yeah. Well, walking through that door, they may even have their head down. If they have their head down, those are the kind of people that we should be approaching and welcoming them and making them feel like they're already part of the community, even though it's their first time there. Mm-hmm. And so we really have to recognize that and just do our best to keep after it.
Yeah. Do you want to give a shout out to all the usher teams out there and encourage them and tell them that their work and all their effort is recognized? We see you and we love you and we appreciate you.
Well, that is true, and you said it perfectly. And also, remember, we don't need to be recognized. The Lord knows what we're doing, and that's all we have to really worry about. Because there's a lot of things at church that I and other people have done that are unseen, and unheard, and that's okay, because that's the way it should be. And but the Lord knows, and the Lord can equip all of us to tap into that. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your energy, your enthusiasm, and I think it reflects in your eyes and how you smile and how you move. And when you came in and Wyatt guessed your age, he was off by 14 years.
Yeah, well,
that's impressive.
In the right direction.
In the right direction.
Let's be clear about that.
That's right. He could have gone down another 7, but I'll overlook that.
That would have been a little outrageous, Phil. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's all the time we have today for Friday with Friends. My friend's been Phil Piekes. And Phil, any closing thoughts before we wrap things up?
I do, a very special one. I want to send my love to my dear wife, Sandy, And I love her, and I am honored and privileged to be her husband.
Beautiful. All right, we'll take a little break and be right back. Thanks for listening. Programming like this is made available through your support. Information available at myfaithradio.com.
What in the world is happening in the world? And what's happening in your world? And how do you apply the mind of Christ to that? I'm Carmen LaBerge, host of a podcast called The Reconnect with Carmen LaBerge.
The people listening to your show get such a wonderfully informed perspective on the headlines of what God's doing in the world.
If you feel a disconnect, well, let's reconnect the eternal with the everyday so you can walk your faith into the world that God so loves in ways that honor Jesus.
I love Carmen. She's teaching me a lot on how to have everyday conversations.
There are questions that nag us. Who am I? Where do I fit? And what in the world am I in the world to do?
Boldness in asking the hard questions
regarding very difficult, complicated issues.
Let's get into the Word of God and let the Word of God get into us, applying the mind of Christ to the matters of the day.
Bringing in the Christian viewpoint without getting riled up.
The Reconnect with Carmen LaBerge. Listen wherever you get your podcasts and at myfaithpodcast.com.